So, namaste and welcome to Satsang today. So, if you're new to these teachings, or even new to non-duality, which is really just a way of saying oneness, non-dual, just means the one being that is everywhere, appearing as all of this, that is our real self. And if you're new to this, you're very, very welcome and really, really glad that you found your way here to our ever-growing family. And satsang is maybe as old as humanity is, really. It's been going for as long as there have been people curious about the truth. And the major difference between satsang and any kind of philosophy or scripture study, although those are valuable parts of our path, is that satsang is for the experiential living as recognition and then living as what we know ourselves to be increasingly with more and more clarity. So instead of just thinking about what we really are or believing in something, which of course has its place too in our journey, or having faith in something bigger than our separate sense of self, the person we have thought we were. We actually want to experience what's real, that there is something that's not a thing, not a phenomenon at all, something in which all phenomena appear, that is really what we are. It is called by many names, yet it has no name. It is formless in essence, invisible and intangible. And it's right here now. What looks like invisible empty space is really actually directly what we are. One continuous being, unbroken, undivided, indivisible, and timeless and indestructible. The only thing that exists is this timeless, invisible, ineffable nature that you are. And yet it can also appear, you can also appear as all of this. You can look like a human being, or a tree, or a dog, or a planet, a mountain, a star, a galaxy, tiny, tiny subatomic particle, and everything in between. So, satsang is for the realization of what we are. And then, as we keep on seeing it again and again, it begins to overwrite and replace the thoughts in our mind that usually we think about everything from the perspective of a someone, that this body and mind is all that I am. And all my thoughts might be about other people and other beings, other things. And as it becomes clearer who we really are, we'll find that the content of the mind begins to change. And what I really want to talk about here now is really to do with that. I would like to talk about the one thing that we must all develop as we walk along this journey from here to here. And of course, it's here to here because we already are that formless, invisible, intangible. I'm just going to call it being tonight, this one being. And we already are it, but we are so convinced that we are not yet it. And so even if we have a big seeing of who we are, or a spontaneous insight, or we touch upon that beingness in our meditation, our inquiry. It's hard for that beingness to be where we're living from if we're still thinking in terms of separation, in terms of duality. And of course, we must all come to question the thoughts that we would normally take for granted. So one of the things that I began to find was developing by itself after some time struggling with this, seeing who I am more clearly, formless and everywhere and infinite. And that was getting clearer and clearer. And yet my thoughts were still totally just from the idea that this is all I am. That was becoming more and more painful. But ultimately, I had to develop what I'm going to call discernment. Could also call it discrimination, but not in the way that that word is used in the worldly sense. Discrimination. If we were to say that word to someone who was perhaps not on the pathway, they might think of it as a negative term. But discrimination really simply means sorting, in this context at least, the real from the unreal. So discerning and discriminating what is real and what isn't real is perhaps one of the most important things we learn to do. So I want to really shine a light on that today and point to a simple way that we can all do that. So when we're looking for what we really are, whether it's in meditation, self-inquiry, or any practice, we have to begin to look for that which is permanent, unchanging, stable, always present. If there is only one being here, and perhaps in each body and mind it thinks itself to be a separate person, a separate entity, but it really isn't. If there's only one being here right now, then what we really are must be present right now and experienceable right now. So let's begin to discern and discriminate into what's real. And all we do is simply to look at what we're identifying as and ask ourselves if that is permanent. So most of us would agree that there is a body here and thoughts maybe and emotions, sense perception. You're seeing what's on the screen right now, hearing through your ears these words. You can feel the sensation of whatever your body is sitting on. And all of those are fine. I have absolutely nothing against phenomena. I love phenomena, but they are temporary. We could call them objects, forms, phenomena. They all point to the same thing. That which has a size, a shape, a duration. It begins at a certain point and exists for a while and then ceases to exist. So all phenomena, forms, or objects follow those rules. And the other rule of phenomena is that they're changing. They're never the same. So if we want to find what lives on beyond the death of the body and what is here now before our physical body dies and what was here before the physical body came, then we have to look for something that is permanent and that is unchanging, because if it's changing, it's not real. It's got to be something that was here before our body arrived and is still here now and will be here afterwards. And with the contrast of a body and mind, you can begin to recognize that there's something in which that body and mind are appearing, something that's aware, sentient, conscious of, awake to phenomena, something that sees phenomena, but itself is not a phenomenon. So we apply this discernment to whatever we find and see, is this that I think I am? Is this permanent? And if it's not permanent and unchanging, then we set it aside for the moment in our self-definition. We don't want to define ourselves by anything that's coming and going, or else we'll always feel scared because we'll think that when it goes, we'll go, we'll be gone too. If I am this body, I'm in trouble because when it goes, I'm gone. No wonder we're all experiencing fear and this acute sense of separation. If I think I am this body, then I think I'm only here and I think you are over there. So we need to begin to look for, to discern what is real. So let's do a little self-inquiry right now together and just practice in this discernment. And then we'll look at how to take this discernment into our lives and our everyday situation. So, what is it that you are? What are you? So, just trying to gently answer this question. What do you find when you look for yourself? There's no right or wrong answers here. And for most of us, the very first thing we find is a body. So, again, we apply the discrimination, the discernment to this. I find a body here, but is that body permanent and unchanging? When I asked myself that question, I had to admit it wasn't permanent. It was very definitely temporary, and it's very definitely changing. So just for the sense of our self-definition, we're not going to include the body in that definition. Doesn't mean we get rid of the body. We still love it. We value it. We're using it. I'm using mine right now to this one to express myself. But it's not included in this I or me definition anymore. It's something that is just happening in my experience. So if we go back to this question, what else do I find when I look for myself? You might notice some emotions and sensations, maybe. And again, we can ask ourselves, are these permanent? Will they always be here? Or are they coming and going, changing, have a beginning and an ending? All the characteristics of a phenomenon. And sensations are not permanent, neither are emotions, although sometimes they might feel like they're here for a very long time. So again, we're not rejecting anything. We're just setting it aside from our self-definition, what I know myself to be. Then maybe we can find some thoughts. Thoughts about this inquiry, thoughts about satsang, thoughts about anything. Am I these thoughts? No, they're not permanent either. They come and they go. So we're discerning and peeling the layers away of the phenomenal identity that we've taken ourselves to be. And we keep asking this question, what else do I find when I look for myself? There is a body, there is emotions, sensations, thoughts, but I'm not including those in my definition for now. They're here, but they're not me. What else do I find then when I look for myself? And as we keep asking this question and learning to sort our answers by whether they refer to a phenomenon or something else. Those that refer to phenomena, I am energy, I am vibration. Even that is a subtle form phenomenon. because it's changing. It's not always here. You can't notice that when your body is asleep at night time. So we set that aside also. What is it then that's here and not changing? And when I asked myself this question the first time, I suddenly became aware that there's something that the body and all those temporary things are appearing in. Some spaciousness, some emptiness, some nothingness. All around my body right now, around your body, is something that is completely intangible, invisible. I can't see it, right? It doesn't have any texture, doesn't have any smell or taste or anything. And yet, if I ask myself, is it always here? The answer I get is yes. Is it changing? Absolutely not. So I use this kind of technique and other self-inquiry methods to begin to recognize what is permanent, and that must be what I am in my first and foremost expression. The form, the emotions, the phenomena and thoughts and body and all of that come afterwards and are beautiful and wonderful. We love them. But we don't want to put our sense of self in them. They can be happening. You can use my body and mind, as we were saying. But I don't want to say that they are me, because then when they go, I'll feel like I'm losing something or that I'm gone. This is the root of all fear that we experience. So this that's permanent, whatever this is, that's all around my body right now, around your body right now, can any phenomenon hurt it at all, affect it? Is there anything that can destroy it? Divide it? Can I pull it into two? If I was to grab some of it, if I could do such a thing, could I split it into two? Something that is completely formless, it has no tangibility at all, and yet is pure sentience, pure intelligence. What's making this body intelligent and speaking is not the actual form, it's the formlessness that pervades it, just like you are that formlessness. You are the intelligence. You're always here. So we apply this discernment to come to see what we actually are in our fundamental essence. And then what we can do after that is obviously keep seeing this again and again, experiencing it. And we've called this beingness, whatever this is, tonight. People also call it stillness. Is it moving? Forms are moving, but is that background context of formless intelligence, beingness, is that moving? No. Is it making any noise? No, that's why we call it silence. It's aware, awake to all phenomena. So all the names that we would normally call it, emptiness, nothingness, formlessness, consciousness, presence, it's very much here. It's present and cannot be ever absent. They all refer to this, whatever this is. And at first it seems like the most boring thing on the planet. This just empty spaciousness that really means nothing to me because it's just always been here. But what if that is the thing that we're all looking for and that the sages are speaking about, and that Rumi and Kabir are writing poetry about? What if that is it? And of course, the next question that will come to most of us is, how do I live from this place. It's one thing to recognize it. How do I live from this place? Well, we use our discernment again, our discrimination. Whenever our mind gives us a problem or we seem to have a problem, we can simply ask, does this problem involve phenomena? Because if we've seen that we're not a phenomenon and that no phenomena can affect this that I really am, then any problem that involves phenomena is to do with the mind and body, of course, and we're not rejecting those. But if we don't entertain it as our issue, somehow in that not identifying with any form or phenomenon, it begins to resolve itself. Even this, how do I embody this seeing? Even this will resolve itself by itself. I began to look at the problems that I thought I had, and I thought I had many, as I'm sure it may feel like for you right now. And as they came one by one, or sometimes 10 by one, I had to ask myself, does this involve phenomena? And if it does, then there's nothing that I can do or need to do about it. What looks like a problem is just manifestation beginning to expand. And if we keep out of the way of that process, it will form itself into a solution. And normally, we pick up these problems as still belonging to us. And most of them now are spiritual problems, right? How do I let go of these karmic patterns? How do I let go of an emotion? How do I become more loving or peaceful or joyful? All of these problems that we think we have, if we examine them and apply discernment, we'll find that none of them apply to us. And this may seem overly simplistic, and it may seem like we're bypassing and ignoring these problems. And some of these problems may be urgent in our life. We don't have enough of something, or we have too much of something, too much pain, too much fear. And we're not advocating avoidance here or bypassing. We're only admitting what's real. It's not something that applies to me, the formless reality. In that, then, I won't be busy trying to fix it, and it can resolve itself. You are that in which all phenomena appear. The universe itself is your form, is your body. Whatever arises that needs resolving, as we simply see it and don't identify with it, meaning I'm not thinking it's mine or me, then it will begin to move by itself and change. And the recognition deepens that we are just simply here, just being, effortlessly watching the play of manifestation. And it does start to feel like a play. It doesn't when you first start this, of course. For me, it was a hellish nightmare of problems that never seemed to resolve. And in fact, I only applied discernment to the problems in the end because I had nothing else to try. Nothing else had worked to solve these problems. So I figured I can't really go wrong here. It can't be any worse. But as I began to listen to what the mind was saying about what problem it said I had, but listening with discernment, is this real for me? Something really began to shift. My whole life began to turn around. My phenomenal life. So if you are not a phenomenon, and we prove that in our self-inquiry, then let's not identify with any problems that involve phenomena. If we really look at why we're suffering, once we have begun to recognize who we are, It's that we're still picking up these problems from this old sense of self. And when the mind says there's a problem or something we need to look at or sort out, we immediately go to it. So we're just starting to use a little discernment, discrimination of real from unreal. You are that from which all phenomena arise, and you cannot be affected by any phenomenon. The body is affected and the mind, but not you. And when you recognize that, somehow the body starts to have a better experience also, begins to be cushioned and protected in that recognition that nothing can harm you. It's also then very hard for anything to negatively affect the body, your body. So it also begins to affect your relationships and every part of your life, if you will apply this discernment everywhere in your life. Manifestation knows how to flow, it knows how to move. Phenomena, they come, they change, and they go. And they do not need our help to make that happen. It's never been true, actually, that we have been involved with phenomena. We have always been that space in which they're appearing. And again, I'm not against phenomena. I love them, especially chocolate, ice cream, tea, and other things. We're just going to be clear here in this discernment who we are and what we're going to take into our self-definition. And if it's coming and going and changing, has a beginning and ending, it really has nothing to do with us. It's just beautiful shapes arising out of you, this formless, invisible, no thingness, beingness. So I hope that that has helped to answer this question of how to recognize what we really are. If you keep asking yourself this question, what do I find when I look for myself? And you sort things based on whether it's a phenomenon or not, you sort the answers. You keep peeling back the layers, ever more subtle, body, emotion, sensations, thoughts, energy. Eventually you get back to that which is formless and infinite. And then apply that same discernment to any issue that seems to arise from that point on. So I'd like to open it up now for questions or any challenges that you're having in your awakening. We have some time to look at any questions you might have. Please feel free to raise your hand here. And just a reminder to leave your hand up and watch for that prompt to unmute. And wonderful. We'll start with Keith. There we go.
Brilliant.
Hi.
And it goes.
How are you doing?
I'm sitting there. Oh, I'm not doing very well.
So you're in the
Not-
right place then. You're in the perfect place.
Yeah, I was thinking of this, but like you're saying that we can sort of go inside and who am I in this beingness? But I was thinking today, well, but I'm detecting that with my physical body, which is impermanent. So how can this be something that always exists when I'm just something that I'm sort of sensing through the body? It sounds like it. This, how do I know there's really? You could be lying to me, Helen, for all I know.
Well, you know me, I like to prove stuff. So let's see if we can, because if you are using your body to find the beingness, then we are in
Yeah.
trouble, like you say, right? When the body goes, our access to the beingness will go as well. So
Well, yeah, and isn't that how can you have access to the beingness without a body? Because the body is. I guess I don't get it.
what if it's not true, though, that you are using your body to notice the beingness? What if you're doing it some other way, but just haven't really looked? And of course, I didn't. I had to look like this. We can have a look if you like, if you want to have an explore.
I'm back in the remedial school, isn't it?
I had to do this too
Yeah.
because I was sure I'm looking from here, somehow recognizing beingness. But are we using our senses? Can we notice something invisible with our eyes, our physical
Yeah.
eyes? Can you hear it with your ears, beingness? Is it making a sound?
No, no,
Does it have any smell?
no, no. Just
Any,
checking.
yeah, it's always good to check. Any taste?
No,
You can't touch it, right? You can touch another form, but you can't touch formlessness.
right. I can pick up my phone or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So if we're not using our senses,
But I'm using my mind to feel something. It feels like I'm somehow feeling something using this
something,
body.
yeah.
Otherwise, how would I know how could oh, I don't
So something
know.
is sensing beingness, but is it your mind even? Is your mind capable of sensing the beingness? Something, somehow we know it's here, but is it the mind? If the
I don't
mind
know.
is um, a phenomenon, it comes and goes. It's
Yeah.
observable by you.
Hmm.
The real you observes, the beingness observes the mind, but can the mind observe the beingness?
I don't know. How do I detect the beingness if not through the mind? I don't know. I'm finding
Let's slow down and have a look, and this is like a great question for everyone. So if we can slow down now and just check that and recognize that beingness right now, or presence, or whatever you want to call it, let's just notice it now. Or we could ask this question, we could call it awareness as well. Am I aware right now?
yes,
Is awareness here now?
yes.
So, did you think about awareness, or was there something else that just looked and knew that awareness was here? It wasn't a thought process, was it?
Yes, that's true. But I still feel like I can only be aware because I have a body. Otherwise, there's nothing to be aware of, whatever it is. Like,
That
I don't know.
awareness, though, awareness or beingness, does it
Mm.
need a body?
Mm, I feel like it does, because awareness, my body, like I'm aware of things, like I'm aware of noises outside or whatever,
Hmm.
aware of your voice.
But those are what you hear through the senses. But still, what's coming in through the senses, what the senses report to, who they're giving their information to, is you, the awareness.
Yeah.
But you're equally aware of words or silence, right? You don't need to
Yeah.
have, we right now we're experiencing sensory input, but you're
Hmm.
still aware. If we close our eyes, I'm aware that I can't see anything through my eyes. Awareness is still here.
Yeah.
And if we stop talking, we're aware that there's no sound. Still aware, right?
Hmm.
So it's something that we can sit with and stay with. And I had to stay with this question. If I'm not noticing it with my mind and I'm not noticing it with my senses, it's not
Hmm.
perceivable to the senses. It's not something that the mind can be aware of. The mind isn't aware, it's
Hmm.
thinkingness. And then how am I recognizing it? When I really looked, there was something that knew, that saw, that recognized awareness or beingness.
Hmm.
If I ask you again, is awareness here right now? There's some kind of looking, checking, recognition, isn't there? Instantaneous.
Mhm.
What is it that's recognizing awareness then? Take a moment and really see if you can find it.
Well, I guess it's awareness itself is recognizing that it's aware, but it's, I don't know, it still takes a body to be aware of awareness, because if my body was, there'd be nothing to be aware of anything
Does
in this.
awareness need an object to be aware of? Can consciousness, awareness, beingness simply be here without anything to look at?
Yeah, I guess so, yes.
And it's like that every night in deep sleep, right? It's just here and it's not perceiving through the senses. The body's shut down, eyes tightly closed,
Mm-hmm.
no sound, no stimuli coming in at all.
Right.
Aware, but nothing to be aware of.
Mm.
So, whatever it is that knows awareness is here, it somehow also knows, doesn't it? It's also aware. Whatever sees awareness is able to recognize, to see, to be aware, isn't it?
Yes.
When I ask you again, is awareness present right now? Something
Yes.
is looking and checking and then recognizing.
Yes, my body is looking and checking.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Something for you to question, right?
I guess so.
Let's
Feels
slow
like
it. Let's do
body.
it one more time. Let's really slow it right down. And I want,
Mm-hmm.
when I ask you, I'm going to ask you again in a minute, is awareness here right now? And then you'll look and check like before. But I want you to really see if you can see what it is it actually a form that's noticing awareness? So we'll ask again, and everyone can join us. Is awareness present right now? Well, yeah, I'm aware of these words. Awareness is here. How am I recognizing awareness? And it's enough to have a little gap to notice I can't prove it's my body recognizing awareness. It's just a thought that I've always gone with. And if we can be really curious and sit with this question for a little while, I think it took 2 or 3 weeks of really being curious about this. Something knows awareness is here, but what is that? Something
Mm.
knows.
Because when you talk about awareness, it feels like my body's aware of the sounds and everything,
Mhm. But
sensations
without
in this world.
you, awareness, your body isn't aware of anything, right? When you leave this body, it won't have any faculty to listen still. You are the
Right,
listener, you are the hearer, you are the seer that looks through the senses.
right.
The body in itself um, doesn't have that capacity. So just to sit with that, right, and to be curious about it. Somehow I can recognize awareness or beingness, whatever we're calling it.
Mm.
What is that that's noticing awareness? Because we could say, as you said, awareness is recognizing itself, but it doesn't really help us until we really sit with that in a curious way.
Mm.
Whatever can see the presence of awareness must somehow be able to see, to recognize, to know. And what is that that knows awareness? I was always convinced it's me, this body, this mind, this person.
Yeah, that's
When I
exactly.
looked, when I
I
looked, I couldn't find any entity that was recognizing awareness. Can you find one? Any person?
just feels like my body is I'm aware of everything because I have a body. that can detect or sense everything. I'm not aware of,
But can the
ultraviolet light, or I'm not aware of, TV signals or anything like that are going on around me, I guess, or cell phone signals. I'm not aware of those. My body doesn't pick those up.
but we've just kind of proved that your mind and your senses can't recognize awareness.
Hmm.
So just being really curious with this. How do I know awareness is here? Not like a puzzle you have to solve, but the more curious I can be, what is it that knows awareness is here? Staying with that question.
Hmm. Okay.
And somehow for me, the fog just began to clear. This sense of somehow I felt like a person noticing awareness. But the more I asked that question,
Mhm.
how am I recognizing awareness? It became clearer that it's not a person at all. It's not any phenomenon at all, actually, that's noticing awareness. And again, we might know the right answer, but it's not going to help
Yeah,
us
that's
have
the
that
thing. So I know the right.
experiential. Yeah,
I've
yeah.
heard you talk about the right answer, so
We all know that, right? Awareness
you
knows
get a
it's not.
gold star from the
Yeah.
right answer.
But it's only going to really change our life if we sit with it and realize it, right? And all we have to do is to be deeply curious, to not assume anything. How am I noticing awareness? I've always just thought somehow it was this that was recognizing it, but what is it really that's even
It's
to
hard
ask
not
that
to have the
question?
mind answer that question. It's hard to go, oh, what is it? And then the mind says, well, it's this, it's this.
It's okay. It's okay.
Mm.
Just mind answers are valid too. We just thank the mind and come back to the question anyway. Staying with that
Mm.
question until you have an experiential shift. Can any phenomenon recognize that in which it appears? And staying with this question, how do I know awareness is here?
Mm.
Not even trying to answer it, just deeply, deeply curious. And it's evoking forth a seeing.
Mm.
Beautiful. Excited to hear what happens.
Yes, thank you, Helen.
Wonderful to speak to you as always. Thank you. Okay, we'll go to Tanya. There we
Hi,
go.
Helen.
Hi, love.
Okay, first I just want to say I'm so grateful for you, your platform, and especially the last two chats that we have had on Zoom, because in both incidences, I was going through something really deep. And after both calls, there was such clarification. And the last time, there was a major shift. And I have been experiencing such peace, and there's been so little thought. And when something comes up, even a feeling like today, like there was a noticing that there was like some sort of fear and judgment attached with it. And there was just a noticing that it was there, and I didn't have to do anything with it, know anything about it.
Yeah.
And it was just perfect. And in all of this, I do have a question that has come up. And since you're like super concentrated orange juice, I thought maybe you could help me with this.
Do my best.
So, okay, I know I am not this person, and I know what I am. And I'm also aware that whatever is coming up in me and as me in that moment, no matter what it is. But when something comes up, so I'll use an example. Last night I was suffering. Well, I wasn't really suffering. I was just aware that it was there, that I had this really bloated, sore belly. And I didn't know why it was there. I didn't have to know why it was there. It was just there. And before, I would have ran to my Louise Hay book. I would have looked it up, seen what the little symptom was about. But there's no doing that anymore because I feel like when I do those sorts of things now, like I'm feeding into whatever story wants to be fed, or that there is going to be some sort of story behind it. And then, I'm going to follow the story and give the mind some fat to chew there. And I
Well,
don't feel like there's any need of that anymore. But what then if something like intuition comes up or a grace about something, or, you get this, okay, well, that was like the yellow chakra or the orange chakra kind of thing, right? Is that not like, yes, something's happening. I'm aware of that, but is that not like some sort of story? Like there's just a little bit of something around that, and that's also coming in through the mind when it does. So I don't know if you can just talk about that for a second so I can maybe get some clarity around that.
yeah, it's I mean, actually, even last night I went to Louise Hay because there was something my body was showing me um, that it would have just taken me longer to figure out without looking at that. And it's not that then I would go and do some affirmation or something like that because they would be in thought, in duality. But it is helpful for me to see what the old thought that must be still running somewhere is in the body, right? My body is showing me that there's something still going on deeply unconscious. So we can look at that. We can, or if we have, as you're saying, something going on in the stomach, we can recognize that comes from the solar plexus chakra, and we can read up about that. But then not to go to work on it, to just notice, okay, this is some kind of old fear or anger or whatever it is, right? And you can see the emotional themes in the chakra system, the knowledge of that, or Louise Hay's work, or anywhere that we would get information. If we ask the body as well, eventually we would have the same message. What is this thing? What are you trying to tell me? What is this pain about or something? So we get the information. Oh, on some deep level, I'm still thinking in terms of being a person. And I wouldn't even know that that was in there unless my body was telling me somehow, please look at this, right? But it is just to look at it, just to see it. So we might have done the contemplation around fear, for example, and seen that we are safe, we've always been safe. And then when there's some fear arising, stuck in the tissues or the energetic system, and it comes up, there's some symptom physically or something going on in our life, we can then just see that, right? Oh, that doesn't belong to me. That's not true for me. So
Mm.
we can still reference those kinds of things, and I still do if I need to, just to save the time between how long it would take me to see it. And but I don't go to, okay, now I need to do something about this. We just see it. Oh, it's fear of something, Louise Hay would say, okay, well, it's just an old idea that I'm not safe. And I can see that and just recognize that's not true for me. So we've done the work already with our contemplation and inquiry.
Right. So the playing with it would have been like following into it and feeling like there's something I need to do about it now that
Yeah,
I've got this little tidbit of information,
yeah.
but just retrieving that information, whether it's intuitive
It's
or
holding
just
it
going
up.
to the book, it's just
Yeah,
seeing it. That's
holding it
that's
up
that's the
against
key.
what you've recognized to be true. Um, fear of the future, for example, something affecting our, um, some part of the body, and just go, well, can that be true for me if I'm timeless, formless, infinite, and just see, it's the discernment we were talking about earlier. It's not true for me. Whereas before, we would have got out our spiritual toolkit and rolled up our sleeves and gone to work with it, right? Like, what do I do
Hmm.
about this? Now I see what Louise Hay says about it. What do I do to get rid of it? And that is the issue there. So just the seeing of it is who you really are. And the discernment, this is not true for me. Then what do you need to do about it then? And then the body begins to reflect that, right? That this isn't my issue. It's not true for me. So it's not so much that by looking at something like that, we go into a story or we're feeding the story. It's what we think we have to do about it then. The very next thing usually is not just a seeing and discerning,
Right.
it's a doing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let me do some self-inquiry even. I can even turn that into a doing, If I can turn anything into a doing if I want to. If I think I'm a doer.
Hmm. Yeah, that's really good. I once heard from a teacher once that it's not what we it's not the something out there that's the issue. It's what we think about the something that
Yeah,
can be an issue. And I've
it's
noticed like in the
always.
past, like I've had like this sensitivity to onions, let's say. So
Mhm.
once in a while onions will bother me, and then all of a sudden they won't bother me, and then they will bother me, and then they won't bother me. And I'm just getting to this place which is kind of like where I'm at with this question of, well, it can't be the onions. Maybe it's just what I think about the onions.
Yeah.
Is
Oop, I think we lost Tanya, but hopefully we got to the point there. Just to finish that question off, it's exactly what we think about what is going on rather than what's going on. There's always the issue. So, okay, we will go to Lena. Also, if I could just ask for no more hands up now, I'll try to get through everyone that's there. But no more hands up after this point, thanks. There we go. Oh, it was unmuted for a second. There we go. It's good now. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like I kept getting notifications also. Hi, Helen.
Hi, love.
Um, yeah, oh gosh, there's so much nervousness for some reason.
Well, let's just take a
Um,
breath. No rush. Just take a minute. Just feeling a bit more centered, hopefully.
yeah.
Good, good.
Um, well, it's still there, but it's okay.
Not paralyzingly terrified,
No,
yeah.
no. Um, yeah, I guess it's very synchronistic that the talk that you gave right now was about discernment. Because this question about the method two self-inquiry, this discernment method came up for me just earlier, like before the satsang. Yeah.
Oh, so it's your
Um,
fault then we're talking about discernment, yeah.
Probably, and a couple of other beings that I was talking to, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. There's only one of us, right? So somehow
Mhm.
it must be for all of us, yeah.
Yeah, I shouldn't be surprised. Somewhat the mind is surprised,
I
maybe.
know we're always surprised, like, oh, I was just thinking about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So the question that came up around that was like, it doesn't really matter which question I'm asking. Like it could be what am I, and then trying to use or wanting to use the discernment method. What happened earlier was that the first answer was love that came up,
Mm-hmm.
and then I was like, trying to discern is this permanent or not. And I mean, the sensations in the body are permanent, they have to be permanent. So I would need to set them aside, like, because they're
Did you
permanent.
say they are or aren't permanent?
They have to be permanent, because they're coming and going, and the body is coming and going,
Yeah.
or will go at some point, and the senses also.
Mm-hmm.
So I would need to set that aside, of course, but it felt like there has to be like some um permanent aspect to love
Mm.
that doesn't go. So it was kind of like, yeah, like I didn't know, I guess, whether should I set it aside or not, because and it's kind of the same thing, it feels like almost with because the self can show up, as awareness or as silence or as beingness, as presence, a sense of I. So it's like the flavor seems to be changing, like it's kind of showing up in different ways. So, but of course, there's a permanent aspect to that also. Like, so it's kind of this confusion going on. Like, do I set this aside or not?
Should we do method 2 now with what is
Yeah,
love? Should we ask,
yeah, okay.
or we could ask what you really are, and keep discarding any phenomenal answers until whatever we find is permanent, we recognize that to be love. But it'd probably be easier to ask what is love if you want to.
Mm.
So just any and all answers that come, and we'll just discern and see which answers we're going to keep and which ones we aren't. So what is love?
Mm. I don't know, like joy, or it's also a sensation in the body. There's also like I'm experiencing this in the body too.
Yeah. So that sensation, is that permanent or not permanent? Will it always be here, this sensation?
Well, the sensation in the body, no, but yeah, it feels like there's some permanent aspect to it, like something that is not coming and going.
But the sensation itself, just for now, we can set that aside. It's there, but we're not going to use that as an answer to this question because we want to know the fullest um, definition of love, right? It might also be a sensation, but it's not going to help us find what's permanent. So
Mhm.
just for now, we'll just leave that be, and we'll come back and ask again, what is love?
Some contraction, I guess, in the
Right here,
throat
right? I
check.
can feel it
Yeah,
right now, yeah.
yeah.
So is that, excuse me, is that permanent or not permanent?
No.
So even while it's there, we can set that aside as a answer to this question. Again, it's not wrong. None of these answers are wrong. We're just looking for what's permanent, unchanging, and continuous. What is love?
Contraction, the heart chakra now?
Temporary or permanent?
Temporary.
What is love?
Again, I think it was first in the heart chakra, kind of moving up to the throat chakra, the contraction or something.
Mm.
And but also joy, sense of joy,
So that movement, is it temporary or permanent?
temporary.
And you're getting really good at this now, right? That joy, temporary or permanent?
I guess temporary, but something wanted to hold on to that, like not, I don't want to put it aside or something like that.
And let's remember, we're not getting rid of it. We can still
Mm,
enjoy the joy. We're just not
mm,
going to put it in our
mm,
definition of what love is. So we're only excluding it from the definition, not from our actual experience.
mm.
It can totally be here.
Oh yeah, that's I think what was happening, like
Mm.
mm, mind, I guess, attributing.
You have to push it away from the
y-
experience. Yeah.
Yes, in order to, like, yeah. Mm.
So these phenomena are getting more and more subtle. Let's carry on. What is love?
Like again, joy.
Temporary or
But
permanent? Laughter
yeah,
as well.
yeah, same thing happening. It's temporary, but something again. This thought was happening. Like equating, putting it aside to like I have to um equating, not defining myself as that with I have to kind of get push it away or um
And that which is really resisting letting go of joy as a definition. Temporary or permanent?
temporary.
What is love?
Just vastness.
Temporary or permanent, this vastness?
Permanent.
Very, very, very permanent. All those things we set aside in our definition of love are inside this, totally being allowed to be, right? The contraction in the throat, the joy, the energy moving, all of that is just in the body, even it's just inside this vastness of love.
It's I like it. I don't think I could call this vastness love. I don't know. Maybe it's because
Let me ask you a
this
few,
wrong definition.
let me ask you a few questions about this vastness then, if I can.
Please.
Can it destroy anything? Can it reject anything? Does it need anything at all that appears inside it to be different than it is? If that isn't love, then I really don't know what love is. If we look not so much at how it feels, that vastness, because it doesn't really feel like anything, but if we look at how it is with phenomena, we see right there, right, there's something we don't find in any phenomenon at all. It does not want to change anything, cannot destroy or get rid of anything. Totally, totally fascinated with everything that appears inside it. Look how fascinated this vastness is. We've even a thought, when a thought arises, go straight to that thought, right? What is that? Even a thought, something that the mind would say is unlovable, it loves even that.
It it doesn't want or need to do anything about it.
Does it even see anything imperfect? Whatever appears in this vastness that you are, that we're calling love, does it even see imperfection and say that, that shouldn't really be there, that should go
It cannot
away?
it cannot define anything.
What does it
Vastness.
see then? When you look as vastness, what do you see?
Think only myself.
That's love, isn't it? Timeless, formless love that doesn't even need anything to love and yet does completely love everything that appears inside it, inside you.
Yeah, it's not like yeah, I guess it is really what is showing up inside it. It is the same.
Is what appears inside the vastness any different than the vastness? If it's all arising out of it?
It can't be different.
So just formless, infinite love, making these shapes out of itself to play with and to pretend to love something, you know?
Yeah, I love how I said pretend to love. Like,
Well, I can seem to split myself into millions and billions and trillions of different things so that I can fall in love an infinite number of times and then fall in love with myself, the vastness, and then fall in love with all the ways I'm appearing for literally forever. I can do that forever.
yeah, just like a play.
Ever more amazing ways to appear and disguise myself. And then I reckon, oh, that's me too. Then there's a love affair right there, isn't there?
Yeah, that's really love.
I think we nailed it. I think we did
Yeah,
it.
I think so too.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Chef.
Thank you.
Love you.
Love you too. Excuse me. We'll go to Savitri.
Here we go.
Hi, love.
Hi, nice to see you so much.
Nice to see you.
Um, that what you just said about the true being it's so in love with and fascinated with whatever is appearing was speaking right to one of my questions. My question that I was thinking of, it sort of has two parts, but the first part was, my mind, like many people now, is kind of addicted to the phone and all the stuff going on in the world that comes through the phone and so forth.
Yeah.
And like all the talking heads and all that, it's like my mind is like living in this. And sometimes it doesn't want it almost feels like part of me doesn't want to settle down and relax. It's like a petulant child. It's like I'm really interested in all this stuff, and like, don't call me back. I don't want to go.
I want to
But
buy
other
these stories. I want to get all agitated. I want to, yeah. I remember
right.
it completely. Remember it completely. Yeah.
And at other times, I'm just exhausted or I'm just called to be to the stillness and so forth. It's not like it's always like that, but it's almost insanity setting in when I feel like I'm all living out here, in the static, and that I don't want to come home, kind of thing. I know it's not me, but when you said that a part of us is in love with everything it sees and it's very, very interested, it kind of like gave me a feeling of, you know, everything is coming out of love ultimately,
Yeah.
and that it's not helping for me to like judge myself and be down on myself and call it bad names and so forth. But so your question, your inquiry that you just led us through is just so valuable. But my mind being like that, it's like it eats up something inside of me and it kind of deranges my nervous system a little bit. And then like when I can take all these herbs, Ayurvedic herbs, and then my whole nervous system calms down. I can meditate again. It's almost like it has a physiological effect on me. And so the other part of my question is I teach yoga and I've been doing it for couple decades now, and a big part of our tradition is meditation.
Mm.
And I've been meditating for a long, long time. I don't want to know who I would be if I didn't meditate every
No,
day.
me too. Yeah. I wouldn't be here without meditation.
I mean,
I was
neither.
going down a very slippery slope quickly. Yeah. So, yeah.
But how, if we're trying to move toward sort of, I'll call it like a global healing of the being, of connecting the phenomenal with the finite with the infinite, let's say, and realizing your true nature, how important is it to share, you know, whatever we do know, whatever we have realized? How important is it for us to have a channel or a way of any kind? It could be like just talking to the checkout person or whatever it might be. But how important is it for our spiritual journey to be able to share? If we have a strong desire for service to others, and we've been studying these spiritual arts for a long time, I don't want to be selfish because I don't think I am. I have a true desire to be of service to others, but will it help me? I'll just talk about me. Will it help me if I amp up my teaching mission just in my little way with the public, like teaching yoga and leading a meditation as many times a week as I can? Will that assist me in sort of healing the rift of in my own being so that I could share some more? Like, how do you think about that? Or am I putting the horse before the cart, or whatever that saying is?
For me, to find that part of myself that wanted to stay in love with the stories and that was totally resisting waking up to truth. Nothing changed in my life until I'd learned to love that. And then the teaching and the sharing flowed spontaneously from there. So not learning to love that from the mind's perspective, but learning to love it as the vastness, the love that we were just exploring. How does what I really am feel about the craziness of my mind, and how does it see it? And there was nothing there that would want to reject. Even if something completely bought a story, you read something on the news and you get all agitated and your nervous system is like thrown out of whack for 3 or 4 days. There was nothing that could even resist that. There was just love for that. That's how I'm showing up right now, you know? So, as the real self, as the formless love, I don't even see that as something going wrong. If I was to somehow be able to buy a story right now and my body got contracted and there was lots of negative emotion, there's nothing left within me that could say that should not have happened. Right? When you can access that, then it paradoxically stops happening because it's only surviving that on judgment, right? We watch the mind attacking itself. It's a mind that is rejecting what's going on in the mind. That should not be happening. It's just a thought, isn't it?
Right.
But how does your real being, how does the real being feel about what's going on? And this is what agitates the nervous system is never what's going on out there. It's what we're doing with our inner response. So we expose to something and then we get all agitated and contracted and whatever happens. And then it's what we say about that internally. Why did I do that? I should not have read that. Why didn't I just switch it off, unplug, come away? And that's what's agitating the nervous system is the rejection of ourself in that moment. And isn't that perhaps the greatest message we could share with anyone? What we've seen from our deepest meditation and inquiry is that there is a place inside that would not reject even that. Can we start to speak from there first about ourselves? So I read this news story and got completely agitated for 3 days and took my nervous system however long it took to come back to stability again. What if I don't say that any part of that should not have happened or that I did something wrong? Because it happened, right? I'd prefer it didn't. But if I make this wrong, then I'm just identifying with my mind again, right, in that moment.
Right.
So we can call forth a different response. What is it within us that says, that's okay, it happened, so. And we can still hold a desire for it to not happen again, but without making it wrong. And we can move through our whole life like that, and it stops happening. That's the deepest message I think that we can share as our own example of self-love rather than self-rejection. It's what I had to learn first. I can't be that formless love and consciously be it rather, because we always are, but still be rejecting some part of myself or rejecting some part of what's going on in the world. You don't have to like it or agree with it. But if we're separating ourselves from it by rejecting it, it's going to hurt in here, right? That's what agitates the nervous system.
Right.
From there, that self-love, you're going to be broadcasting that silently to everyone that you cannot reject anything about yourself. There's an unspoken invitation in that then for that person you come into contact with, whether it's a yoga class or a profound meditation or just passing someone in the store and handing them something they can't reach or something like that, or a smile or something. That's the teaching right there, isn't it? Meeting them exactly as they are without rejecting anything. We must do it with ourselves first, though. So next time you get all contracted and screwed up inside, can you turn towards that with some love and acceptance?
Can that expand to things in the world that we are rejecting? And
Yeah. We can never change anything from a place of rejecting it. Because I can look at something and not agree with it, not want it to happen again. Of course, I would prefer something different. And there's plenty of opportunities, as you were saying, to notice what we don't want. But to focus on what I do want, which is usually the opposite of what we're seeing in the media. But not to make that wrong. That happened already. Rejecting it is not going to change it. It's only going to agitate me and make me feel separate from it. And then I seemingly lose my power as the infinite love. Anything I look at from love has to change into love.
Yeah.
Anything I look at from judgment, it's just gonna beget more judgment, isn't it? And not that it's like our fault, but we must be that place that we're wanting to see arise in the world, right? We must be that first.
If
And
we're conflicted, if we could heal the conflict within ourselves, we could maybe beam that out.
yeah, you couldn't see any conflict out there, meaning anything that you're going to reject, at least. There's be plenty of things you don't like and don't want to see in the world. There's a whole list of things I would like to see gone from the world. But there's nothing making it wrong or separating myself from it, right? Because you heal that inside yourself first, it naturally then pours out into the world. And it has to impact what you. And that formless love looks at something with full intensity and the full radiance of who you are. It has to shift something. But division inside is only going to reflect as more division outside. It's just always been that way, right?
Do you think that's why we're getting these catalysts like this to help us all, like a caricature of the ego mind? It's like almost like
It's playing out on a global stage, isn't it?
right,
Rejection,
right.
uh, self-hatred, rejection, sense of unworthiness, fear, all of that, separation. Everything that we see out there we'd like to have disappear is a reflection of the rejection of ourself inside. Because it's all ourself, all completely ourself. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. We'll go to Holly and then we'll finish with Amna. Wonderful.
There we go.
Tyler.
Lovely satsang today.
Thank you.
Just so
Some
beautiful.
deep questions going on there.
Totally. And I mean, I'm sure that it will affect my question. So what I'm noticing is that even with seeing my formlessness again and again, there is this conviction to the belief in form, particularly as it relates to my son, who's in chronic pain. And, you know, I project that he's suffering.
Do you? Do you project that?
My mind does. Yeah.
It's good to be
And
clear about that, right?
Yeah, and I can see that. It's, you know, I thought it again, you know, as we were doing contemplations and self-inquiry today. It's like I can see that I do not have a problem. He does not have a problem.
And of course, mind will still think there's a problem. It's okay.
Totally convinced there's a problem.
But let's separate that thinking there's a problem for a moment. Let's just put it over there for a moment. And also notice there's a desire here too for something different for your son.
Yeah.
And the desire and the problem don't have to be linked, right? We can notice what is, as we were just saying, something we'd like to be very different. We have a desire for it to be different for him, of course. And from the real place where we know he is not suffering, we'd like his body to have a different experience, of course. From the real place where we know he's not suffering, can you allow that desire then in its fullness? Just feeling it now, imagining him free of this and whatever image that is for you. I am feeling vital and healthy, and whatever form that desire would take in your imagination. So we're just unhooking the problem from the desire, right?
Yeah.
Mind will always want to point to it and say, this is wrong, it should not be. And that's okay, that's what mind does. It's totally lovable because it does exactly what it's supposed to. The mind is lovable, I mean, because it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. But we don't have to buy into the problem aspect. We can buy into the desire in a bigger way, what we really want here.
In an intensive, I might have been the February contemplation intensive, there was a question and you were working with the woman, I don't remember her name, but in part of that answer, you talked about having to, or the deciding to stop thinking about your children or something like that. And there is a way that I feel like I perpetuate separation.
Do you?
With this worry that keeps arising. Well, my mind does.
Yeah. Let's be clear about that, right? Don't pick that up as you, because
Right.
that's an extra problem. Something
Right.
wants to separate and worry. Absolutely.
Right.
But for me, there came to this point of realization that I'm not helping any of my children if I'm constantly worrying. If the only thing I'm offering is worrying. And of course, somehow we've got the idea that makes me a good parent the more I worry, you know.
Yeah, it's irresponsible not to.
Yeah, exactly. Not to think about them is irresponsible.
Right.
But the urge was growing undeniably to just experience them as they are, both as formless love, as we're calling it, beingness, and both as they're showing up physically in the form right now. What is it like to just be there with that?
Yeah.
To not analyze, strategize, to keep turning back towards this urge to just be there with them. And you can do that whether they're in the room with you or whether they're thousands of miles away, right?
Yeah.
And that is the highest form of love. I don't want any artificial separation. If I think about them, I'm going to have some artificial separation that really isn't there. And again, I seem to lose my ability to help then, right? But if I'm just being and not thinking, it doesn't mean thoughts out there, but I'm more interested in experiencing what they actually are.
Right.
What is your son actually? Then there's a potential there for something really quite miraculous to happen. Because what desire you feel in that situation for him is also the desire he feels. But it's probably so wrapped up in belief that it can't happen or whatever thought is in the way of that manifestation. When you don't separate yourself from him in your thoughts, then the infinite power is right there, isn't it? To have that desire manifest.
Yeah.
It's totally 180, right? We thought we were irresponsible and well, we even say the word thoughtless as if it's an insult. You're so thoughtless, you know? And yet here in Awakening, we're trying to be thoughtless and come from somehow that thoughtless place, you know? So
Yeah.
we got to kind of flip it around. What if the best parent I can be is one who's really turning back again and again and again towards the direct experience of our children?
Yeah, I think disconnecting the problem
From the desire, right?
from the desire, that makes a lot of sense. And I think that's going to be really helpful.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Thank you.
Of course, we're gonna hold on here more than anything because we love our children, right? I'm gonna hold
Yeah.
on to the sense of separation because somehow we think that's actually gonna help. It hasn't worked yet, but I'll keep trying, right?
Exactly.
I'll keep trying to do this thing that isn't helping at all and just makes me feel terrible, but I'll keep at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing so bravely there.
Thank you.
It's everyone's question again. Yeah. Thank you so much. We'll finish with Amna. Hi, love.
Hi. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have two questions.
I'd be surprised if you only had one.
I've been trying to pick one,
It's okay.
but I'm gonna tell you both, and then you can answer whatever you'd like to answer.
Okay.
The first one is about contemplation. Every time I do contemplation, it comes up like this. It doesn't make sense that every answer is an answer to a yes or no question. And I also see that this is also an answer, but a part of me wants to understand that.
Okay, let's answer that one first, no pun intended, because it would be relevant for everyone. So just for context, those who don't know what contemplation is here, we work with our karmic patterns by looking at the emotion and then finding the belief underneath that emotion, which is perpetuating the emotion and the pattern. And then we ask if that is really true. So for example, is it really true I'm not safe? And we welcome all answers. So thought answers, emotions, sensations, if there's a sound happening in our environment, a dog barking, a car drives past, earthquake happens somewhere, all answers. And your question is, why is that so? How can they all be answers, I think, right?
Yeah, how can they all be answers to a yes or no question? Because like, is it true? It's a yes or no question in my mind.
In the mind it is, but it might help if we realize, first of all, that when we're asking if something is really true, is it really true I'm not safe, for example, we actually begin to experience the answer rather than think about the answer, right? The answer is less and less going to be a thought. Yes, it's true, or no, it's not true. Until we ask the question in contemplation, we've been experiencing the belief, right? I've been really experiencing feeling completely unsafe in an infinite number of ways. Now, when I ask the question, I start to experience the question rather than the belief. Is this really true? It's an open question. The reason that we we allow all answers is because we have to include everything in our experience, all phenomena. If we are open to every answer, then we are being the infinite self. And we think we are a person or a someone. We tend to only listen to thought answers in the mind and emotions, right? They're our favorite answers, even though they make us feel terrible. And we ignore everything else that's going on in our experience. This is identification as a person, is literally listening. How we identify is listening only to thoughts and emotions. That's it. We exclude everything else. But we welcome the dog barking outside as an answer. There's a child right now outside crying, a baby crying as I'm speaking. And that's an answer too, if I was to ask that question. Why? Because she is me, right? Anything that goes on in my experience, I have to include as an answer. Because even if I only know this theoretically, when I'm asking the question, I am everywhere and everything, right? There's this formless love, as we're calling it. If we say, I'm going to exclude something as an answer, then we're really identifying as a person only here. Only what's going on here is me. Nothing there is me. That's other than me. So we're opening up to all answers. as a way to begin to live as who we really are, that which is everywhere and formless, but also as a way to stop identifying with one or two answers. If you think about it right now, whenever something has happened in your life that you didn't like or want, all of us, every time, have gone to one resource only, the mind, and the emotions that result from those thoughts, right?
Yes.
And has that ever really worked to solve the problem?
I don't think so.
And maybe it's not the mind answers, the thoughts, or the emotional answers that are the problem. The problem is that we're only listening to those. We're trying to be peaceful and happy when we're taking all of our energy and using it to ignore everything else that's going on and focus on this tiny part of our experience in any moment. What's going on in the mind is just the tiniest part of our experience, the fullness of who we are.
My mind is still like, so I'm noticing like an opening and a loosening, but
Yeah.
still there's, how is it that the dog barking outside is a,
Because the dog is me. It's no accident that the dog barks when I ask the question. The mind says it's just a coincidental answer. But then we begin to live, my life now is the experiential answer to the knowing that I am safe. Before, and I am loved and lovable and worthy and all of that and unlimited. I keep experiencing that all the time in every way it can come. Before it was, my life was a reflection of this idea I'm not safe and I'm not lovable and I certainly am very limited. And I was listening to the mind about that, right?
I think I understand. I mean, you said it multiple times, but I think it clicked.
I was kind of getting it for every little. And don't expect your mind to get this, right? There's nothing wrong with the mind, but it can't really understand what it is to be that which is everywhere.
The sensation is me as much as the dog barking outside is me.
Yeah, the bird singing over there is just as much you as that body, right? So if we don't include the bird singing, the dog barking, the child crying, we're living as a person. I'm just here, right? This is me. This is it. This is all I am. Now you're getting it, right? I can see a big smile.
I am like so grateful that I asked.
Well, it's everyone's question. And I get this question so many times as well. And to the mind, it seems insane. What has a dog barking out there got to do with whether I'm safe or not, right? Or worthy of um, anything?
Would it still work to ask you the other question?
Go ahead. We've gone this
Okay.
far, we might as well.
Um, how is, in my mind, like an awakened being would not do something like dishonorable or show up in a way that's not in integrity. But then I've like many supposedly awakened beings do things like that. So how does that, how is that?
I think I can only really speak from my own experience, and my own experience is the more I see and the clearer it gets that I am everywhere and everything, the less it's even possible to want to harm or even, to even like judging someone is a kind of harm, isn't it? If I judge them in my thoughts. Or of course, most of us has already stepped away from physically harming something or someone at this point in our awakening. But how could you harm something that you know is you? You just couldn't. You could not. It's only once there is an artificial sense of separation from that other part of you, that other person. It seems like other. And they seem, the moment there's a separation, a division, artificial division, they seem outside of my control. They might do something, try to do something to me. Suddenly I'm starting to feel unsafe because of the life force has dropped, because it takes so much life force to keep believing in separation. But if you know with clarity and certainty, and seen again and again and again that everything and everyone is you, you would treat them with the same respect you treat yourself, right? It doesn't mean you would let someone else hurt or harm you. You would still take steps to protect your own body, of course. But there would be no way that you could act without integrity and truthfulness. There is, of course, everyone's free will is how far and how deep to embody this seeing once you begin to see it. And I can only speak for myself that there was just this rampaging fire that went through every thought somewhere and just destroyed anything eventually that was not from wholeness in terms of the way I think. And there's still things pop up to be burnt. That's an ongoing thing, right? It's not like it's over. But I do feel that if it's fully embodied, this seeing, that I am literally, there's nothing other than me, there's nothing other than you, right? There's just you here everywhere. As that gets clearer and clearer, how could you even think about hurting anyone? It just wouldn't be possible, right? You can get a sense of it already.
Yeah.
And mostly the only ones we're intent on hurting and harming is ourselves, our own body mind. We're usually pretty nice and kind to other beings now. It's really just usually our own body and mind that we're so insistent on rejecting.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good questions.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, wow. What a powerful and amazing satsang. Thank you all for your deep and wonderful questions today. And again, just thank you for your courage to share things that are raw and vulnerable inside. And hopefully we can see that this is how we live as this presence, right? This beingness is to not let anything hold us back from authentically being ourselves, and not believing in some magic fairy tale that, you know, no emotion ever comes up for me again or something like that. If there's something here, we can acknowledge it. We're not rejecting it. We're just not identifying with it as well. So using that discernment when it comes up, as we spoke about earlier. Thank you so much. I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I have. Love being with all of you. I love being with all of one of you. So thank you. Namaste.